directions if that's helpful to you.
Yeah, that actually is. Yeah.
Okay,
Guess I'll
perfect.
move into the other room.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think
Okay.
you're the one who gave me some advice that it can play a sound if someone joins, so I put that setting on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's very helpful. Yeah,
Perfect.
I teach on Zoom, so it's really
Well, that's
helpful.
how you know it.
Sound.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So to get started, we're going to start standing up. Do you have any vertigo or anything that you deal with?
No.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to start with the head. So we have another participant who joined. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
How are you? Happy New Year to both of you.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, we're going to get started with a warm-up. So we're starting with the head. And as long as you don't have any vertigo, I want you to follow along. If you do, let me know. We're going to modify it a little bit. But we're going to bring our left ear to our left shoulder. And I want you to make sure to keep your eyes open while you do this. And you're going to potentially feel some tension. So I want you to think about your breath as you breathe into that tension. And I want you to slowly rotate your head so now your chin goes up to the sky, keeping those eyes open. And then right ear to right shoulder, again, potentially feeling some tension in these spots. And taking a minute to breathe into that tension and then chin to chest. So we're going to go ahead and do that one more time with the eyes open. This time I want you to do it at whatever speed feels comfortable to you, but I wouldn't recommend going too fast. And then you can bring your head back to neutral. And then when you're there, we can switch sides. So now we're going to go left ear to left shoulder, feeling some tension and thinking about breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth, and imagining that breath is going right into that spot where you feel the tension, and then looking up at the sky with your chin, and then left ear to left shoulder and chin to chest. And you're going to go ahead and go around and do that one more time. And your goal is to find an area where you feel some tension and do that breath in through your nose and out through the mouth, and then come back up to neutral. Perfect. So next we're going to go to the shoulders. So I want you to think about making circles with these shoulders. I have a black shirt on, so it's probably hard to see me, but you're making circles with these shoulders. Next time I will wear brighter colors. Sorry about that. Yes. And we're going to go two more, and then we're going to switch directions. So whatever direction you're going, go the opposite direction. And we're going for about 5. But if you're not counting, let's go ahead and do 2 more. Nice. All right, so now you are going to stand with your arms by your side. Your feet are a little bit more than hip width apart. And you're going to just let your arms hang heavy, like gravity's taking them. I want you to think about having soft knees. So I don't want the knees to be locked out, but nice and soft. And then you want to think about rotating your chest from one side to the other and letting your arms hang. Now this should feel good. If it doesn't feel good for some reason, just let me know and we can modify it. And I just want you to focus on this movement here for a couple more seconds. Nice. Yes, good. And then you can start to slow that down and really bring it back into the center so you come back to a neutral position. And then we're going to move to the hips. So once you're slowed down, you're going to think about these hips. And I want you to make a circle with the hips. Now, if you feel any pain or tension as you do this, pain is not necessarily a bad thing, but in the warm-up, we don't want to start triggering that brain pathway to be alarming. So if you're feeling something painful, make that circle smaller. This entire workout is meant to feel pretty good, not bad. So again, with pain, we want to modify it in the warm-up. So think about making that circle smaller if you feel pain. If you don't feel any pain, I want you to think about really trying to increase that circle. Nice. And we're going to go for 2 more. And then you can come back up to neutral and we're going to switch directions. So same thing on this side. If you feel an area with pain, I want you to dial back that circle. It could be a very, very tiny circle if it needs to be, and that is no problem. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and go for 2 more in this direction. Nice. And then you can go ahead and come back to neutral. And then if you have a wall nearby, you can use that. You don't have to, but it removes the need for thinking about your balance. I want you to bring your feet together and your knees together, and then think about making those circles with your knees. So same thing, if you feel any pain, make that circle smaller, much tighter. If you don't feel any pain, you can really play with increasing that circle. And I want you to go around about 5 times and then switch directions. Nice. Perfect. And then when you are both done with that, again, using something to hold on to so you don't have to think about balance, I want you to pick up your right leg and you're going to let your toes hang heavy to the ground. And I want you to think about making a circle with those toes for 5 in one direction. And once you get to 5, I want you to go ahead and switch to the other direction. Try and really make a big circle today if you can. And then we're going to switch directions. Nice. And once you've done that on both directions on one foot, you can lift the other foot and do the same thing. Perfect. Nice. All right, when you are done with that, the first exercise we're going to do today is actually a new exercise because we're going to try to trigger the front muscle in your leg. So we have the calf, and then in the front we have the shin. So I'm just showing you my feet so you can see it. If you want to use something to hold on to, you can, you don't have to. But basically you're going to just stand in a normal stance. And I want you to think about bringing the right leg just a teeny step forward. And then from there, you're going to think about picking your toes and the ball of your foot off the ground so your heel stays in contact and putting it back down. So I want you to think about tapping your toe, kind of like you're waiting for something and you're getting impatient. And I want you to try to do 5 or 6 of those. You're definitely going to feel this. Once you do that, let me know once you've both done that.
With both feet?
Okay.
Just one in the front, just the one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so once you've done that, I want you to take those toes and I want you to turn them as close as you can. And again, this is where balance helps. But so from the front, I'm taking this toe and I'm turning it in towards the other foot. And I want you to try to do 5 more of those taps.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, me too.
And then we're going to turn the toes out now so they're facing away from us. And I want you to do 5 more of those taps. Do you feel that in the front of your legs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I don't know if either of you are runners, but if you are, you might get shin splints. Or if you start running again, you might get shin splints. We all get them sometimes. And this little tapping exercise can really help with those, but it also just activates the front shin muscle. So it's something we don't always use as much as we can. So then I want you to switch feet. And so both your feet are facing forward, they're hip width apart, and you take a small stance with that front foot. And then you want to do 5 taps in the straight direction. Once you've done 5, I want you to think about turning the toes as inward as you comfortably can and doing 5 more taps. And then you're going to turn those toes outward and do 5
You
more taps.
also feel it in your quads.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, cool. So that was part of our little warm up today. So the first exercise that we're going to do, we did last time, but you guys weren't all here. So I want you to think about, I'm going to show you this first and then we're going to do it together. But I want you to think about stepping over an imaginary object. So for me here, I'm going to pretend that I'm stepping over a rock. So I'm imagining it's about this high. So I'm going to step over it with both feet. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm stable and I'm situated. And now I want to bend my legs and imagine that I'm stepping underneath something. If your knee bothers you at all during this, let me know. But otherwise, we can get squared up. So I want you to have both feet here facing forward and imagine you're sideways stepping over something. You can make it as high or as low as you want, but both feet need to step over it the same. And then you're going to add a little bit of bend in those legs and think about stepping under something. Again, if one of your knees is bothering you, let me know and we will modify this. So you're going to step over and then step under. Nice. We're going to keep going. And again, you are in control of how high you're stepping over and how low you're stepping under. If this is feeling easy for you, you can make that step even higher. If this is feeling challenging, keep that step where it is so that you're still challenging yourself, but it's not impossible. Perfect. And we're going to do a couple more of these before we switch the exercise. Nice. All right, good. You guys can go ahead and relax. How are you both feeling?
Good.
Perfect. All right, the next thing we're going to do is a little ankle stretch. So if you have a wall, you can use it. If you don't have a wall, I can show you how to use an imaginary wall. Do you both have a wall?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'll show you this first. You can both watch and then we'll do it together. So I have this wall in front of me. I want to think about, as long as you can see me, I want to think about putting my hands straight out so that I'm exactly an arm length away from the wall. And then I'm going to take a step forward with my right leg. So now my toes are touching that wall. And basically what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to add a little bend into my knees. And I want to think about bending my knees forward with my feet flat on the ground. And if I can, getting this front knee to touch the wall. So by doing that, you're going to feel a stretch in this back calf. If that hurts, I don't want you to go this far. I want you to control how far you go. If you can go all the way till your knee touches the wall, I want you to hold it for 3 seconds and come out. And we're going to do 5 of those. So we can do this together. I want you to get your arms straight in front of you and walk towards the wall until your arms touch that wall. Are you both in position?
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to take your right foot and you're going to step it in front so that your toes or your shoes just touch the front of that wall. So your feet are staggered. They're still hip width apart. And then you're slowly, with those feet flat on the ground, going to shift your weight or your center of gravity, trying to think about that front knee touching the wall. And so for some of us, it's not going to be able to touch the wall, and that's okay. And then I want you to just focus on your breath. So breathing in through the nose and out to the mouth, and then push your arms into the wall and your knee away from the wall so you're standing back up with your feet staggered like this. And we're going to go ahead and do that 4 more times. So what we're working on here is ankle flexion, as well as getting a nice little stretch in our calf. Nice. If you have any questions, let me know.
Oh, yeah, could you demonstrate that one again? I want to see how far you're bending your knee.
Sure. So if you can see me, I'm an arm length away. I have one foot in front of the other. And then all I'm doing is I'm thinking about trying to get this knee closer to this wall. And in order to do that, I need to bend both knees because I want to keep my feet flat on the ground. So not everybody is going to have the mobility to do this, and that's okay. So if you feel pain when you're doing this, then I don't want you to try to touch the wall. I want you to go as far as you comfortably can go. It's a lot on your back ankle and in your back calf. So you are in control of that for you. But once you feel like you're at a good point, I want you to breathe into it for 2 breaths and then come back out to a more neutral position. So you're going to aim for 5 on each leg, remembering that you are the conductor of the ship. So if this hurts, don't go as far forward.
Oh, so it's more of a stretch.
Yes, you're going to feel it in your back leg, yes.
Back
Not really
leg.
much in your front leg.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Do you feel it?
yeah.
Okay, if it
Yeah.
hurts, I don't want you to go as far. And so you're aiming for 5 on each leg. So you bring it towards the wall, you take a few breaths, you come off, and then you want to switch legs. So we're going to do that. You know, you're going to take 2 breaths here, come back, take 2 breaths here, come back, and then you're going to switch which leg is in the front. Nice. Once you've done 5, just let me know and you can go back out to a more neutral position.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Perfect. Again, if you feel a lot of pain as you do this, I want you to think about going only not as far, maybe halfway, and breathing into that. So you don't have to go the full way. How are you doing, Jill?
Fine, thanks.
Perfect. Does that anything hurt?
Not hurt, but I noticed the sort of on either side when I do it, this is maybe coming forward, and that's a little
Uncomfortable.
sensation.
Okay. So see if you can keep your back more neutral, so like flat, and instead of letting your back flex, just let your knees come forward. So your back
Okay.
stays in the same position, but you're moving that weight and letting those knees come forward. Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Does that feel any better or still the same?
Yes, better.
Okay, perfect. All right, so when you are both done, we are going to go back to our next exercise.
Okay.
All right, so the next exercise we're going to do is just the step overs. And I want you to imagine that this thing that you're stepping over is at least halfway between your calf. So for me, that's right here. If you're feeling like you want more of a workout and you have good balance, then you can think about it's at the height of your knee. So I want you to think about really stepping over that object with both feet, because if there's an object there, both feet need to go over it, and then staying in position and going back. And so we're going to go ahead and do 6 of these. So I will try my best to count for you, but you might both be doing it on the same, on different intervals. So I see that Jo is on her second one.
Oops.
Yes. So imagine you're stepping over something that's at least in the middle of your calf height. And so you're stepping over it with both legs, over it with both legs, and we're aiming for 6 on each side. Nice. So if you've done some posture work with me, you might remember how he talks about the hip joint is a much bigger joint than the knee. So if you've done that class, I want you to think about really engaging that hip joint to move the leg up and over that object as opposed to just bending at the knee. So really engaging your hip, come up and over, and then back down. And you're doing 6.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So now we're going to go back to our wall. Do you both have a blank wall that you can, Lauren, do you have a wall like this?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to show you this and we can do it together, but we're going to do a wall sit. So basically my feet are about 2 steps away from the wall. And then I'm going to lean back onto the wall. I'm going to move my feet a little bit further out and I'm going to think about sitting down in a chair. So what I want to make sure is that this part of my leg stays completely upright. I don't want my knees to be pointing way over my feet. So if I need to move my feet out further, I move them further. And I imagine I'm sitting in a chair as my back is really pushing against this wall. And you're going to feel this in your quad muscles. So when you're ready, we can get in position. And I'm going to start a timer for 15 seconds. And you're going to try to hold that. So you're in charge of how low you go. You can go to a chair height. You can go higher. You can go lower. But the lower you go, the harder it is. So 3, 2, 1, go. If you want to make it easier, don't go as low, but make sure you're really driving that back into the wall and you have a bend in your legs like you're sitting in an imaginary chair. And think about that muscle on the top of your leg really activating. You should be able to feel it, but you might not, and you can go ahead and stand up. How hard did that feel for both of you?
Not too hard.
Yeah, well, I didn't push it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna do another one, and this time we're gonna go for 30 seconds. So think about how that one felt, and then if you wanna make it harder, you can, but we're going for double the amount of time. So 3, 2, 1, and go. So think about getting that back nice and flat on the wall. Nice, and you should feel this in your quad muscles. You got this. Don't forget to breathe as you're doing this. So really focus on your breath if you're starting to get tired and think about, is it choppy? Is it restricted? Is it smooth? And you have 6, 5, 4, 3, hi Edie, 2, 1.
Hi,
and
I'm
Yes.
so sorry. I got involved with the newspaper and I just looked at it. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries. If you'd like to join us, you can.
Okay, I will.
All right, perfect. So the next exercise we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to go, or women, we're going to go back to the step overs. So last time we did a step over, we're standing up and we imagined that something was about at calf height. If that felt good to you, I want you to do that again for 6. If that felt too easy for you, I want you to now think that something is about at the height of your knee and that you have to step over it and over it. So if balance is more of an issue for you, which is okay, you don't want to step too high because that means you have to have one leg on the ground longer, and I don't want you to be falling everywhere. So you have to be the guide of what is comfortable to you today and what feels safe to you today. Nice. But we're going for 6. And again, if you've done that posture class with me, which I think both Edie and Joe have, I want you to think about really engaging that hip as you lift your foot over that imaginary object. And you need to make sure you lift both feet, because if there really was an object there, you'd have to sidestep over both of them. Perfect. So this is really, it might not be hard for some of you, but it's really about control, balance, and thinking about the body. So thinking about, am I engaging that hip and lifting it over this object? And am I very controlled putting it back down? What does my center of gravity feel like as I do this? Where is it moving? And if it is more challenging for you, that's okay. It's a good little workout. Perfect. So once everyone has done 6, let me know.
Okay, it's okay.
All right, perfect. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do some squats. So I'm going to go over this with all of you, and then we're going to do it together. So normally to do this, we use a chair, but today we're not going to use a chair. So I'm going to pretend that there's an imaginary chair behind me. I want to have my feet a little bit more than hip width apart. And I'm going to think about pushing my butt back a little bit. And then like I'm trying to sit in a chair, but I want to think about I'm trying to grab that chair with my butt. What I want you to be aware of is that you don't tip backwards. So your chest needs to be forward, but your butt and these muscles should be recruiting you to go down as comfortably low as you can go. Some of you might be able to get really low, but if that is not you, that's okay. I want you to go to about chair height and then stand back up. When you're standing back up, you're thinking about driving with these hips and really pushing them forward back into the wall. So we can do this together. I want you to stand with your feet further than hip width apart. And make sure you can really feel the ground under your feet. So all of your weight shouldn't be in the back of your heels or the front of your heels, but really everywhere. And then you can create a soft bend in these knees. And I want you to just take your hands and put it in the crease of your hip where you bend. And think about pushing yourself back a little bit, but making sure you still have good balance. And then recruiting these muscles to sit down in that imaginary chair and stand back up. Nice. So we're going to go ahead and do 5 of these. If 5 feels good and easy for you, then I want you to go for 8 to 10. If 5 feels weird to you, then I want you to stick with 5. The other thing I would say to make sure is that you're not arching your back. So make sure you're not creating an arch in your back as you do this, but you're thinking about having a neutral spine, like you're sitting down and your back is very flat. Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
All right, cool. So once you've each done 5, 8, or 10, we're going to go back to the wall sit. So we've just recruited that particular muscle group, so this wall sit is going to be harder. But we'll wait for everyone to finish their 5, 8, or 10, and then we will switch to the wall sit. Nice. Edie, do you have a wall?
Yes.
I think, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So, while Joe is finishing up, we are using a wall like this, and we have our feet in front of us, where our body is back on this wall. And basically, we're imagining that we're sitting in an imaginary chair. What's important here is that your knees are not going way over your toes. So your feet might need to be further out in front of you in order to make sure that this part of your leg stays very straight up. You don't want it like leaned back or lean forward. And you want to think about having from the bottom of your butt all the way up to your shoulders on the wall if you can get them there. So you're pushing back against this wall as you sit. So you don't have to sit yet, you can just practice. All right, so when you all 3 are ready, we're going to do a wall sit. All right, so we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Get in your wall sit position, and you are holding this for 30 seconds. Now, 30 seconds can feel hard if you've decided to sit really low. So you can always move yourself up the wall a little bit if this is feeling too challenging. So you can come up, and that's going to be easier, or you can go down, and that's going to be harder. And I want you to think about pushing your body against the wall and really thinking about your breath as you do this. You have 3, 2, 1, and you're at time. You can go ahead and stand up. how did that feel for everybody?
It was challenging, but good.
Okay, perfect. Do you all have it in you to do another one of those?
Oh, sure.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this time I want you to all make sure that you don't have a surface underneath you that can move. So if you have socks on or you have a mat like I have, that's not good. You want to make sure you have contact with the floor in a way that it's not going to move. As long as you have that, I'm going to walk you through another part of the exercise. So you can get into your wall sit. I'm going to count down from 5 and say go. So we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And if you feel strong and stable here, I want you to think about picking up your heel so that the ball or toe of your foot is now on the ground in this position. So it's like picking up the heel and putting it back down, picking up the heel and putting it back down. So this is going to target a very specific part of your calf and make this exercise a lot harder. If that feels like too much, you can just stay in the wall sit. And you are at time. Perfect. So if any of you have to go because it's 12:30, you can go. I have until 12:40 if you would like to keep exercising.
Fortunately, I have to go.
Perfect.
But can you send me the link again to your YouTube?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is great. It's really working. Thank
Perfect. You're welcome. Bye, Lauren. All right, Edie and Joe, is there anything in particular that you would like to work on today for the last 10 minutes?
I just have a question. When we're
Yes.
doing the wall sit, is
Mhm.
our head supposed to be, we're pushing our back in, is our head supposed to be against the wall?
So the head is a tricky one because everybody has a different level of
Right.
mobility there. A lot of people's heads are forward, so they can't
Yeah.
get it back against the wall. So I don't really include it. But yes, if you can get your head easily back against that wall, I don't want you pushing your head into the wall, but I more want you to think about pushing your back and your shoulders
Okay,
into the
yeah.
wall. And your head can have a little gap between it and the wall, but ideally it's not really far forward.
Okay, thank you.
But just don't push with your head into the wall.
No.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything that either of you would like to work on today?
I think
Okay.
that's, that's a little tough.
Yes.
So I think I'll stay with that.
Perfect. All right,
I-
good.
I
Yes.
have a question.
Yes.
This part of my back,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I do this in regular, but I know it doesn't hurt, but it clicks.
All right. So I think that we might want to build some muscle in your back there. And to do that, we really need a whole session, but we can do some things to try and help you with that.
Okay.
So we can do some on the wall. So
Okay.
Edie, I know that one of your shoulders gives you a little bit of trouble. So I want you to do this exercise in a range of motion that works for you. So can you both get your hands like this? So basically, I'm taking my arms, they're down by my side, I'm bending my elbows, and I'm shifting my hands up like this. Can you both do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now I want you to walk against a wall like this. So your hands are almost like you're karate chopping a wall. Your pinky and the side of your hand is touching the wall. And then I want you to get your elbows to touch that wall. So you shouldn't have a lot of weight into here, but it's touching. So now your goal is to slide your arm up the wall. And for some of us, that's only going to be a teeny bit of sliding up and bringing it back down. For others, you might be able to slide it up really far and come back down. But I want you to think about maintaining contact the whole time with the wall as you slide your hands up. If your elbows start to come off, you've gone too far and you need to come back down. So for you, Joe, depending on how high you can get, When you get to the top of that position, I want you to be really mindful, and Edie, you can do this too, of tucking your pelvis up towards your face and really making sure that you have a neutral spine. So you're engaging your core, you're tucking your pelvis like you're tucking a tail, and then you're bringing those arms back down. And you're trying to really hold this position as you do this exercise. So it's going to force you to brace your core a little bit more. And that's a feeling that I want you to feel while also moving your shoulders. So you're moving them up only as high as they can go so that you can still maintain contact with the wall and coming back down. If you do have shoulder issues, this exercise can be really intense. So take your time and shake things out in between if you need to. But if you are both up for it, I want you to focus on going up and back down 2 more times. So you're sliding those arms back down. Yes. And you're really thinking about, you have an imaginary tail here and you're trying to tuck it under you. Or if you think about your hips, you're tucking them up towards your face. At the same time, you're really embracing this core to feel really strong as you move this part of your body. And once you've both done your 2 more, which I think maybe you're there, you can let me know.
Okay.
I gotta work on the leg one more.
Perfect.
The arms
Well,
are good, the legs are tougher for me.
okay, perfect. So that is what we're going to do next, is go back to the legs. So we're going to go back to a wall sit, and this time we're going to do 20 seconds. Last time we did 30 seconds. So Joe, if that part of your back bothers you or is clicking, I really want you to think about making sure that your back is flat against this wall. So think about opposite your solar plexus, which is where you would kind of give someone the Heimlich. Think about pushing it back so it's flat against the wall. And then thinking about opening these shoulders so they touch the wall. Don't worry so much about the head right now, but you're going to need to brace that core and then go into your sit. So I'm going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can start. Nice. And you're going 20 seconds. Don't forget to breathe as you do this. So if this is more challenging, really think about breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth and being mindful of what that breath feels like. Is it choppy? Is it restricted? Is it easily flowing? And you can both come up to a more neutral position. All right, now we're gonna do another wall sit when you're ready for 15 seconds. Then we're gonna do 10 seconds, and then we're gonna do 5 seconds. And that's how we're gonna finish off today. So it's gonna be a good exercise for the legs. Remember, when you get in position on the wall, I want you to think about, is your back really nice and flat on that wall? And have you opened your shoulders to the room so that they come back and touch that wall? And then you're gonna go now for 15 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can both start. Nice.
Quiet.
You got this. Don't forget to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you have 2, 1, and you're at time. Perfect. You can go ahead and come up and relax. Shake everything out really quick, and we're going to go for 10 seconds and then 5 seconds. How are you both feeling?
Fine. Yeah.
Perfect. So
Yeah,
if this
I
is
feel it.
good, if this is easier for you, then what I want you to think about is what I'm going to show you before we start. So if you're feeling like, okay, this is a good height, I don't want to go any lower because I'm afraid I won't be able to hold myself up, but this is pretty easy. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 1 to a 5. I want you to think about picking these heels up off the ground and putting them back down for the entire 10 seconds.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, and go. Nice. And you're only going for 10 seconds, so don't forget to breathe. Good, and you can go ahead and stand up. And then you're gonna get right back into position and we're gonna go for 5 seconds. So for this last 5 seconds, I want you to really think about getting a little bit lower in that chair and challenging yourself. It's 5 seconds, but make sure you can stand back up. So we're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and go. Nice, you got this. And you are at time, perfect.
Okay.
Cool. Nice job today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was good.
Good. We can do some stuff to work on your lower back. I will look through the exercises that we've already done, and if I can find a video that has any of them in it, I'll send it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry I missed the first part. I got busy reading my newspaper front to back.
No
What
worries.
newspaper?
Oh, the Valley News.
Oh, okay, I know that one. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
You have
terrible
some good
thing.
stuff in there.
yeah,
Terrible thing.
Cool.
it was.
And,
All right.
and then, Edie, I want you to work on these wall sits if you need more strength in your legs. So think about every day doing a 20-second wall sit.
Yes, yeah. Those are a little hard for me. But the funny thing was that the heels were not.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah.
Then keep doing that.
Yeah.
All
Perfect.
right,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.